Beholder is here at Keeneland Racecourse, but where will she be racing? We know she's in the Breeders' Cup. It was thought rather clearly she's headed to the Classic with a showdown with American Pharoah, and then there is a story coming out that says the Connections want some time to think about it, and they're not going to declare because she was actually cross-entered in both the Distaff and the Classic, so is she running Friday or Saturday? All of a sudden that seems to be a possibility of a Beholder showing on Friday. Paul, what do you make of everything that is going on around Beholder? First, she ships here. She's got a shipping fever. She's over it. Things are good. And now kind of this other little open story that seems to be developing.
You know, I really don't know what to think about all this. You know, Richard's usually, he shoots straight from the hip type of guy. He doesn't really beat around the bush. So, you know, when she had a fever, he's always been handling her with kid gloves, but he should. She's one of the best mares ever to race on a racetrack. So I think he's just making sure everything's completely right with her. And I think the owner is as well. Caleb has been close to Beholder since she arrived here at Keeneland, has been following the story each and every day. Caleb, bring us more.
Todd went out there this morning at a little bit after 7 a.m. down to Rice Road to watch Beholder. I'd say about 12 to 15 members of the media, and also members of the Spendthrift team. Mark Toothacre, I should say, was out there keeping an eye on the champion mare. And it's really one of those walks that I feel like I'll remember for a long time, just kind of heading up the gravel driveway there from Rice Road up to the racetrack. The sun really hadn't even peeked over the hills just yet. And Beholder, I mean, as classy as could be. I'll tell you, she actually went on the racetrack, had a pretty aggressive gallop. I mean, last time, in terms of yesterday, the drill was just to go out there and just get acclimated with the racetrack. But today, they got a little work into her. She was galloping out there a few times, and I thought was pretty aggressive in doing so. So it wasn't necessarily any light training today. So they kind of got her into the mix and got her going. But I will tell you that later on today in race 4, Beholder is going to be out here in the paddock schooling. Now, we've known in the past, especially early in Beholder's career, that she was, you know, a little bit tentative and sometimes a little bit uneasy around crowds and in the paddock area. We obviously know what happened with that debacle in the Kentucky Oaks when she dropped Garrett Gomez and, you know, almost flipped there in the post parade. But I will tell you about that Oaks as well. If you get a chance, go back and watch that race. I mean, this is only as a 3-year-old, but she was giant in finishing second. She got slammed at the gate, was up on that hot pace, and Princess Silmar got her late. So it feels like such a disappointment that she didn't win the Oaks, but she was 9-1, and that was actually one of the best races of her 3-year-old campaign. So we'll keep an eye on her here for race 4 today. Hopefully Richard Mandela will be out, and if we can get him, maybe we'll get a better idea on what they're gonna go with that declaration on Monday, but I don't see them not going in the Classic.
Well, as we've been talking about, the advantage of being here on site, the advantage of being able to bring you these Breeders' Cup races live for the first time in our history up until that Breeders' Cup Classic is we have all the information for you. And so when that schooling session takes place later today, hopefully we'll have more and be able to talk to the Connections of Beholder. Here are the pre-entries for the Breeders' Cup Classic with American Pharoah and Beholder highlighted amongst these two, but doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come down to those two horses. Frosted, you know, Matt Carruthers mentioning yesterday, his A game, maybe A+ game is enough to compete there. And we know Honor Code is always a horse who's had the ability.
I think this is probably one of the better Breeders' Cup Classics we're going to have since the 2007 one at Monmouth. I really do. I'm talking, it's not going to be that big of a field. I'm talking, at the end of this, it's going to
quality
because you end up realizing Street Sense, pretty darn good sire. Curlin in that race. Hard spun any given Saturday.
Wow.
There was 4 really nice horses there. I know Awesome Jen ran a good third in there, the old war horse. But, you know, with American Pharoah Beholder, you're getting a quality horse in Frosted. You're getting a quality horse in Honor Code. You're getting a quality horse in Keen Ice. And you're getting a quality horse in Tonalist. And you're getting a horse that we really don't know his ceiling, who's on the upswing in Smooth Roller. So it's very interesting field because you're right. I mean, you got a Triple Crown horse and maybe one of the best mares that's been on the racetrack in a while. And there's some others in there.
Okay, so as we mentioned, Beholder, as indicated, since really the TVG Pacific Classic, they wanted to take on American Pharoah in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but yet she is cross-entered. And the highlight to Saturday as well as the highlight to Friday with the Breeders' Cup Distaff. You said this yesterday. With no Beholder, this is a wide open race. With Beholder in here, she'd be an absolute cinch.
Yeah, she would. I mean, here's the deal. She's 2-1 in the Classic. 9-5 in the Classic. She's 1-5 in this spot. So
And the distaff, yeah.
In the distaff. So, you know, whatever Richard Mandela wants to do in the connections, and then you see the rest here. Now, there is a lot of possibilities. Amma Chatterbox finally conquered
I
that
love
grade
what Sheer
one.
Drama's done.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. Sheer Drama, what she did at Saratoga. I still think Salama for Charlie Lepresti is the course that's going to come in here under the radar. So this is a good group.
Okay, so 2 days of Breeders' Cup racing. The highlight on Friday is this race, the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff, and then the Classic on Saturday. We sit 1 week out from the Breeders' Cup, the first time Keeneland has ever hosted it